Thanks, Raheem. You've told us how we can use integrations to up our retention game. That information, that demo, that is pure gold. But we're going to move to gold of another kind. indiagold is the company. It's a fast-moving startup that is building a gold-focused digital alternative credit platform. It not only wants to reorganize the sector, it wants to reimagine the experience, and that is exciting, and that's what we'll be learning about today. I'm your host, Peggy Salz, mobile analyst, senior Forbes writer, founder of MobileGroove, and we are chatting today with the co-founder of indiagold, Deepak Abbot. And before indiagold, Deepak was a senior vice president of product, and before that, head of growth at Paytm, a company that specializes in digital payments and financial services. And at Paytm, he worked with a stellar team to build financial services, a financial services powerhouse, really, by building a seamless consumer experience across wallet, tokenized card, wealth and insurance. And he's a hands-on expert, a hands-on growth expert, a perfect fit for what is going to be a no-holds-barred fireside to wrap up our event. The session is retention, myth-busting, the methods, the models, tools that really matter. We're going to look at what really does matter, the reality around solving for retention. But first, Deepak, I'm excited. A little bit more about indiagold. I'd like to hear that, the user experience on the app and the physical world, because you are certainly one blending both.
Thanks, Peggy. Thanks for having me. This is definitely exciting. In terms of experience, I think our focus is to, like you mentioned, give credit to underserved. So we cater to middle of the pyramid user base, people who don't get credit from formal institutions, banks, NBFCs. We try and see if we can, help them get credit using the asset that they own, which is gold. I don't know if people are aware or not, but India has about $1 trillion worth of gold in Indian homes. Like India is the largest consumer of gold. We a dead asset because once you buy gold in form of jewelry or any other form, just maybe you wear it for like 4 or 5 days in a year, maybe 15 days in a year, but it lies unused in your locker. So we thought, why can't we help credit to you, right? So we're trying to reimagine the way people from logistics to valuation to storage. All this is managed by indiagold. And we try and give one comprehensive experience to consumers where they only open the app and manage their entire loan through the app. So that's where I think my past experience at Paytm and a couple of other places helping me to look at customer experience as a whole and not just the UI part or the UX part. And that's where I think the topic of the day is very important. That these customers who come to us, how long can we retain them? First time users, obviously we try and give them good experience so that they come back to us, but the real money will kick in when they stay with us for like 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years. And that's the aim we have when we are building the products or features, that how can we let users to continue with us for a longer period.
It's one thing to have a great experience, which you have obviously architected, but you also have to know, is it right? Is it right for your segment? Is there something we need to change? So it all comes down to the data, and that comes down to the metrics. What are the retention metrics that really matter? Tell me of all the ones, what your pick is and why.
So, when I talk to other founders, other product managers, everyone has their own ways to look at retention. Someone talk about D7, some says D30, some even look at M1 or week 7 or week 2. Now, it is all dependent on what kind of offering you have for the customer. So, for example, if it's a news app, then daily retention is very important, right? So you would actually look at D7. But let's say if it is a shopping app, you don't expect people to come to your app daily. Like for example, indiagold's example, we don't expect our users to open our app daily or weekly or monthly, right? Because they literally open an account with us, and we just want them to come every month and pay their EMI. So for us, app open or app engagement is not important, but our retention is outside of the app. So as long as they are happy with the services, right? As long as they like the entire consumer experience and they know that their gold is safe with us, they know that they're getting best rates, they know that when there's some restructuring when the gold loan gold rates go up or go down, we'll be there to help them. The point I'm trying to make here is that you have to really understand what retention means for you. It's not just opening of app, like I said, or opening of website, right? As long as customer is overall happy. So that's why I focus more on the customer experience, because end of the day, retention is an outcome of giving good experience, right? So that is where I think we focus on. But if someone has to look at the right metric, I think they have to understand the frequency of their product and then adopt the right retention metrics.
So you mentioned frequency, and that's a very interesting segue because, of course, we have recency, frequency, monetary as one of the retention models out there. And of course, marketers need models. They need frameworks. They need to understand what to aim for. We talked about measuring. Let's talk about the models. What are the models you think marketers need to aim for?
So for me, the only model that has worked and is working here, that every time you look at one key metric that you need to assign to your team, ask them to focus on LTV. So LTV is dependent on two factors, obviously retention and the ARPU, the average revenue per user. Retention plays a very, very important role, because everything boils down to, if I retain more users, the LTV will go up, right? So if, instead of keeping retention as a metric, the reason I'm keeping one step above, which is LTV, because then I'm looking at a holistic picture. Then I'm not really, saying, oh, users are coming back to me, but they are not delivering value, right? They are not transacting, or they are not consuming enough content, or they are not, generating enough, reading time or viewing time, right? So unless users deliver me, monetizable engagement, that retention itself is not good enough, right? So I don't want people to come back to me and still do not deliver any monetary value, because end of the day, it's all about making money, right? For example, would Amazon be happy with a customer who goes to their website maybe 100 times a year but doesn't buy anything, right? Because end of the day, product lines has to ensure that they like something, they get a better deal, they get, they understand what the customer is looking at, maybe offer something which customer will end up buying, right? So our objective is to get customers to transact, right? So that's why instead of using retention as the metric, I use LTV, because LTV obviously is dependent on retention. So we can't look that in isolation. But I want to only retain users who will bring in money either today or later in the day, so that all my tools, all my team members, all my business metrics are aligned to generating revenues either today or in future.
So you talk about being focused on the models that are going to help you focus your efforts and get the best results. But of course, you also need the retention tools, or the stack that you need to get the best results. Let me understand a little bit about your own retention stack and how that has perhaps changed, because global events, of course, have changed everything.
Even I won't name the tools, but I tell you important things that a growth manager needs to do. First of all, they need to track all the data, right? So they need a good tracking tool or analytics tool. For that, they need to track the right events, right? So they need to select a tool which tracks those right events, which are easier to integrate into your app or website. Now, once you have the data, the next thing that you need to see the user behavior, create all the right funnels, create all the right cohorts, and then take actionable measures for every data point that you get, right? So first tool that you need is a good analytics tool, which can track all your events. Second tool that you need, which is a very, very important tool, which we often miss, is a good attribution tool. The next very important step is engagement. Now, engagement is where I think a tool can make or break, right? You need a tool to really do a lot of heavy loading. So for example, a good tool which can pick up data from your analytics tool, can it create auto customer segments? Can it use AI to build predictive engagement tools? Can it send push notifications, in-app notifications, depending on what time is right for the customer, what kind of segment of customer should be receiving such kind of messages? So a tool should be able to help me drive conversions and also ensure that customers are getting the right kind of message, right? So I don't want to send a push notification to someone who previously has not engaged on a similar kind of content, right? As long as tool allows you to experiment, tool allows you to run any kind of campaigns across different medium, and tool is intelligent enough to tell you back that what campaigns could work or have worked Because, like I said, a bad tool and a good product manager is still a bad combination. A good tool and an average product manager is still a good combination, right? So that's why a tool is very important.
So you've told us about the tools, a checklist of how to understand what you need. I'd just like to dive a little bit deeper, understand your growth stack and how you're getting the most benefit from it.
Sure. So I'll tell you the stack that we use. So obviously for data analytics, we started with using Firebase because, like I said, when we were small, when we were bootstrapped, I think that's the tool which everyone starts with. But then we quickly realized that at scale, Firebase is not going to deliver the kind of value we're looking at. It's an average analytics tool, but at least it's a good starting point, right? Once we have this data, we move this data into AppsFlyer and CleverTap. AppsFlyer helps the attribution of all the links, all the campaigns that we do. So CleverTap helps us send push notifications, in-app notifications, helps us in our email marketing, and also helps us create the remarketing list for Facebook. While, like I mentioned, while we are not big on bringing consumers back on our app every day because our use case is not like that, but we like to keep our users engaged. For example, inform them about the gold prices going up and down. We inform them about the upcoming payment that is due. We also inform them, in case there are some regulation changes or some other changes at our end or in the industry, just to keep the users engaged. And that all is automatically configured. So we have a calendar in CleverTap which takes care of our standard notifications, and then there are some one-on-one custom notification that the exact amount that is due is sent to customer as a push notification. They just tap, they can open any UPI app and pay from there without even opening indiagold app. We still engage the user. We sent the right notification and they've directly gone into their payments UPI app and made the payment, right? So we've enabled that for every customer, and that has helped us, like I mentioned, get 60% of our users staying with us after they've finished their loan because they like this experience. We call it like a no hassle loan, right? It's not always that you have to shout on top of your voice and tell them that we are the best. It's the subtle experience that you give them, and I think, like I mentioned, the subtle experience through push notifications, through email marketing, through all the content marketing that we do, through all the hand-holding that we do to the customers when they onboard, we've been able to retain most of our users. And I would like to thank all the product managers who worked hard on building tools so that we don't have to work harder, right? So we focus on our core business, which is getting more customers, building better products for them. But all these standard tools that we use, we are very happy that we didn't have to really work hard. It just takes a week or a 10-day to configure those products, and then we don't need to really look back and worry about will it deliver or not. Because I know 50 product managers are working to build CleverTap versus my product manager thinking about how to build right engagement hooks, right? Because someone else is thinking, I would rather use their knowledge and integrate in my app.
It's about the tool, as you said. It's about this knowledge that goes into the tool that allows you to do what you do best, which is build your company. Yeah, it's about growth for you.
Yeah, I don't want my product managers to really start building tools which will drive engagement, retention, attribution, onboarding. There are companies, specialized companies who are building this. So I always believe in picking up the best products out there in the market and just focus on building your own core business versus building ancillary tools. So we use CleverTap as a kind of a indirect way of sending content to our users. So it's like a content delivery platform for us. So we don't call it like a push platform, we call it a content delivery platform. It's not necessarily the old way of looking at engagement, that what was the CTR, what was the conversion, what was the engagement in app. Sometimes delivering something which people are reading and they're still liking what they're reading. I think that in itself is a good outcome. So for us, I think CleverTap has done that. So we know that those notifications are delivering value. That's the reason that they do not uninstall our app because we trust CleverTap to deliver the right kind of message. Because push notification, by the way, if not done well, can actually do a reverse thing as well. It can irritate users and people can uninstall apps, right? And I've tracked that. A wrong push notification drives up uninstall rates, right? So you have to be very, very particular. It's better to send lesser notifications but relevant notifications. And we've thankfully so far have used CleverTap effectively there.
So Deepak, we started with gold. We talked about gold, the gold of indiagold. I want to close on gold, but I want to do it in a different way because this has been, one of those sort of edgy discussions. So let's do an anti-fireside. Your golden rule of retention, as in the no-go golden rule of retention marketing.
So the first no-go for me is that you have to understand your customers are smart. They have choices, right? So you need to always deliver the best experience that you can, the best product that you can, the best services that you can. Because in today's world where it just takes another app to download and try out competitor services, you have to assume that all your customers are very smart. They're seeking much better solutions than what you're currently offering, so that you continue to push your teams to build better services and better offers.
So it's really not down to those one-liners like in the day of Don Draper. You can't fool them.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes when I debate with certain product manager, they say customers don't know anything, right? You have to educate them. Well, it was correct maybe few years back, but I think with the kind of awareness, the kind of exposures that everyone has, because we are also customers of certain products, right? We also look at multiple things, and now since global Indians especially they have access to global products, our exposure is not just limited to 5 or 6 apps. I hold the same respect for the customers that we've acquired, that they would have evaluated us amongst other companies as well, and now we need to respect their decision. We need to tell them that they've taken the right decision. Not just they're expecting, we have to go beyond what they think we can deliver. So I think customer delight is what I would like to use here, is that you have to always tell your product managers, growth managers that one thing that they should strive for is the customer delight quotient that you can have.
Excellent, Deepak. And that also, interestingly enough, goes back into retention, because everyone now is talking about how customer education and that part of the journey is really instrumental to retention as well. So thanks again for being so bold, so insightful, for pushing the boundaries with me today, Deepak.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you for having me.
And of course, we will continue to challenge convention. And next, we're going to learn to resist funnel vision. So over to you, Rebecca.